Hello and welcome back to the channel. It's time for another week's gaming news. There's been a lot of it this week, a lot of interesting stuff, and I'd say a lot of it negative for Sony for PS5. So first, the PS4 controller will work with PS5, but not PS5 games. So yes, unlike Xbox, your Xbox verticals, your Xbox controllers and such, will work for the Xbox Series X fully, no problems, no issues, blah blah blah. However, Sony have come out and said your PS4 controller will work for the PS5, but not PS5 games, only PS4 games, which sounds pretty rubbish, really, pretty lazy, and I can't see why the two controllers could be that much different for one controller. Not for, you're going to have the same directionals, you're going to have the same buttons. I really can't see how they can't have allowed this. It just seems another way Sony want to make money off players by charging them for new controllers for next gen. It just doesn't seem right. It doesn't seem like a good idea, personally. It says, well, rip the PS4 controller, kind of. Sony today revealed in an official PlayStation blog post which PS4 vehicles can still be used for the upcoming PlayStation 5. While some peripherals will carry over, the PS4 controller won't, at least not when it comes to playing new games. What's the point then? What's the point? Because as I said, look, PlayStation 5, well, you don't know what its backwards compatibility is. They've not really revealed what its backwards compatibility is, how many games you can play. Will it only work for the odd few remastered games? But what does it actually mean? It's just all very up in the air. Sony just not very clear on their message, what they're doing, backwards compatibility, what they're doing with controller. Especially when they said the PS5 is going to have mainly now PS5 exclusives. So I guess you're not, I just don't see what Sony are doing and what the issue is. No, we believe that the PS5 game should take advantage of the new capabilities and features we're bringing to the platform, including the features of DualSense wireless controller. But what are those features? They don't really support what features it is. I mean, I think it's got minor features now, but I can't really see what the issue would be. I really can't see. The Xbox has the Elite controller, for example. The new Elite controller has a lot more features than the old controller, but still both controllers are usable on the Xbox One. Despite the quality of both controllers and differences and abilities of both controllers, they're still usable on the same console for the same games. Pretty much like anything, if you buy a PC, depending on what keyboard you have or joystick you have, some will have more features and functions than other keyboards and joysticks. So that's just a choice. That's just the way things are. It's just to limit what that controller is playable on. It just seems like a bit of forced really, that you're going to have to buy a new controller for the next gen, really, because who's then going to be bothered to do, as they say, use a PS4 controller and a PS5 if you can't use it in any games. So yeah, that's sort of really my mission. That it just seems a bit lazy for Sony to come up with something like that. PS4 controller will work with PS5, but not PS5 games, especially when you're pushing PS5 as the next generation console, which will only mainly have PS5 games. That just comes across as lazy and a bit anti-consumer, Sony. And you're being very anti-consumer at the moment, very greedy, and I'm not sure if it's going to pay off. You've got very big people that are fanatic about Sony, and they will buy the console regardless, even if they sold you an empty box. I understand that. And eventually, actually won't affect the casual gaming market, which mainly the PlayStation has. So it's a bit of a shame. Some people will be shocked and be let down by this, and they won't realise it probably until they bought the console. But let's move on to my next bit of news. State of Play returns this Thursday, August 6th. Yes, so Sony have got another show August the 6th, which is tomorrow for me. I believe. I don't know what day it is today. Is it the 5th? So, yes. Yeah. Well, what's interesting about this news is straight after Sony's event in July, I think it was, which was lackluster. I didn't like it at all. They showed Spider-Man Expansion, which is only 7 hours long. It's not a full game. and it comes desperately across like it's just because now they're saying they're going to bundle the original Spider-Man game with it, so that means it's not really a standalone game at all. It is just an expansion, and it's a remaster because they said it's a remastered version of the original game. So it's very much coming across as a remastered expansion of the first game, which is only 7 hours long, which I think's very lazy once again of Sony to do as a launch title. Because they don't seem to have any AAA first-party games, really, other than Spider-Man, and I wouldn't consider that AAA, because it's just an expansion. It's the same, I don't... Sea of Thieves, when they release DLC for that, I don't consider it a new AAA game. State of Decay, 3, 2... I don't regard any expansion or DLC as a AAA game, to be honest. So, especially if it's so short, especially if it's only 7 hours short at most. So yes, so after that show, I think a lot of fans were disappointed. So they redirected, saying that Sony were holding back for State of Play, which is what they was holding back many games, which they're going to really show up the Xbox show, which they showed because they said the Xbox show was rubbish, and they're going to put it to shame by showing all new PS5 games at this show, including God of War. They claimed they was going to show God of War at State of Play. Okay, however, the news now has come out. If you are excited for State of Play tomorrow, it's been a while, but State of Play returns this Thursday with a focus on third-party published games coming to PS4 and PSVR. We have a few PS5 game updates on third-party and indie titles you last saw in June's PS5 showcase. I was in June, I thought it was July. And the episode is 40 minutes long. So, basically, what they're saying, it says there, and further down it says, and just to be super clear, there will be no PlayStation Studios updates in Thursday's episode. So, just to reiterate what they've said, there will be no first-party games shown. It's only going to be third-party and indies, and mainly the PS4 with some PS5 game updates. So, how hyped are you for that? Yes, it just seems like they're trying to sell the PS4 in that show, and some PS5 third-party titles, and indies, which, as I said, their show, which is a problem for me, is that other than Horizon Zero Dawn, they didn't show many first-party titles. They showed Ratchet & Clank, which looks, okay, it's Ratchet & Clank at the end of the day. People are getting overhyped in that game they've never got previously, but now they suddenly are. Now it's a PS5 title. And Horizon Zero Dawn. Other than that, the majority of the games I showed were remasters, expansions, DLC, and indie and third-party games. They didn't show many decent first-party games. I mean, they showed stuff like Sackboy and Astro Boy's Playground, or something, Bot's Playground, which looks, very Switch. Like it would be at home on the Switch. But just to round up this news is State of Play. If you're really excited for it, excited for seeing new PS5 games, don't be, because you're not going to see any. You're not going to see any first-party games. You're just going to see third-party and indie games. So, yeah, which I think is a bit of a cop-out for Sony. I'm sure people are going to say, oh, they're holding out for Xbox's show so they can trump it again, which is what we heard before. If you want to believe that, you believe that. If Sony are doing that, then I think they're doing stupid if they're going to keep holding out for Xbox to reveal first. At some point, as the parent market leaders, Sony, you're going to have to take the first leap. You can't always allow Xbox to show first and then show your cards after. As market leaders, it doesn't look good, it's lazy, and it looks like you just come across as you're frightened, or you're worried, or you're concerned about something if you're just going to keep letting the competition show first, if you're never willing to go first. It doesn't show, it shows a lack of enthusiasm for your own device, basically. So there we go. What do you think of State of Play, what they're going to show? Please put in your comments below. Let's move on to the next topic. So, with the PS5 around the corner, it's come out that the PS5 lifecycle could be reduced to 5 years, claim supply sources. Yes, it looks like this generation of PS5 could only last 5 years. And then they could release a PS6, which says two things to me, which also kind of supports my next subject, the next bit of news. Sony are just not showing, as it stands at the moment, they're just not showing much they're just oh, I can't think of the word now. It's just completely out of my head. But they're just not showing much enthusiasm. Is the wrong word, but promise in their new console. I mean, 5 years for a new console. Do you want to buy a PS5 and then 5 years later buy another one? Buy a PS6? That means you're going to be spending £1,000 in the next 5 years on two consoles. And then what happens then? In 2025, PS5 launches. And then in a couple of years after that, the new Xbox launches will then be more powerful than the PS6. The Xbox, Sony's always going to then be on the back foot. It just seems a bit odd. And what's very odd here is that shipments estimated to reach at least 120 million units, doubling those of Xbox Series X. So you think they're going to ship 120 million units in 5 years? They're going to sell 125 million units in 5 years? It took 7 years for PS4 to sell 110. Do they really think they can sell 120 in 5 years? No, you won't. I mean, they've already said in a previous video I showed they're looking to release 10 million in the first year. So if they're going to release 10 million in the first year, does that mean you're saying you're going to release 110 million in 4 years? I just don't see. I don't know what's going on with Sony at the moment. Faith, that's the word. I don't seem to have much faith in the PS5. BC they're unclear about. The controllers don't seem to work. They're not concerned about the cooling systems. There seem to be issues with overheating. They don't seem to have many first-party AAA titles announced or coming out, other than, as I said, Horizon Zero Dawn and Ratchet and Clank. This is in regards to AAA. I mean, people say Demon Souls. That's just a remaster. Demon Souls is just a remaster. Spider-Man is just an expansion. They got GT, a racing game. There we go. Well done. Which, we had a whole generation of being told that racing games are easy to make, they're rubbish. That's what we heard from fans regarding Forza. But now racing games are good. Now Sony have shown they're coming back for GT. I can't stand the flip-flop or the hypocrisy, to be honest. Just be truthful to yourself, really. Be truthful to yourself. So PS5 Lifecycle could be reduced to 5 years. What do you think about that? What do you think about buying a console and in 5 years' time buying the another generation console? Does that bode well for you? Are you a massive fan that you don't care? Could Sony basically just drop a new console every year and you just buy them all because they're that much of a fan? Or do they not have much faith in their PS5, so they do need to release a new console so that will be fully backwards compatible and have all the features that they actually want, that will be more like an Xbox Series X? Will it be more pro-consumer? Please write in the comments below. Let's move on to the next bit of news, shall we? So this news just released, following it on from the Avengers game coming out, in which Spider-Man now is going to be exclusive to PS4 and PS5 owners, if you wasn't aware of that. Yes, the PS4 and PS5 version of the new Avengers game coming out, Spider-Man will only be playable on those consoles, not on the Xbox or PC. Sony has now revealed more Avengers exclusive beyond just Spider-Man as fans vent anger. Now just bear with me for this because I want people to carry the same energy. Firstly, I believe it is wrong. Yes, you shouldn't. Well, I don't believe in exclusives anyway, but I certainly don't believe, as one person points out down here, where are we? When Spider-Man comes out, there will be 8 heroes in Avengers, and one of which is locked behind a platform, and yet we all pay the same amount for the game. Yes, that is it, basically, in a nutshell. Everyone's paying the same amount for the game, but one console gets more content. So, I'm not sure how this is going to pan out. I've already been watching people who have already now stopped their pre-orders on Xbox and PC for this game. I'm not sure what they were thinking in doing this. But what I find most interesting about this is that, yes, this is the new news, it's not just Spider-Man. There's going to be other content as well that's going to be exclusive. Let me see if I can find it. Spider-Man isn't the only thing that's exclusive to the PlayStation versions of Marvel Avengers, as Sony announced more exclusive features. But it turns out Spidey is not the only part of the game that's only on PlayStation 4 and 5, to the point where you wonder why Sony didn't just sign up the whole game as exclusive. Well, they couldn't do that. For one, that cost them too much money, and two, I think Crystal Dynamics want to make some money from the game rather than make this game just exclusive. A new blog by developers on it reveals that many cosmetic outfits for characters will also be timed exclusives, and there'll also be a special in-game events and rewards only for the PlayStation versions. See, this is terrible, really. This is actually really bad and really anti-consumer, and it's sad that Sony does this. And before I get on with the rest of this topic, this is my point going back now, is that it does make me concerned for Sony. Are they buying up exclusive content because their console is going to lack first-party games, first-party AAA games? So now they're just buying third-party exclusive deals to sell a new generation console? It looks that way. It looks that way because more and more now information's coming out that Sony have bought this exclusive content, that exclusive content, but you don't hear anything about like a first-party AAA launch title other than Spider-Man, which is just an expansion. It looks like delayed DLC, as I said. We've not seen any other first-party AAA launch games, and we've not got any dates, or we don't know. Like Horizon Zero Dawn, that's probably not going to come till 2022. GT 2021 possibly. So it's very worrying that there's an next generation console. So Sony are going mad now buying content, exclusive content for it. To just sell their console because they've not made any new games for it as it stands at launch. But what's interesting about this is that they go on to quote fanboys on Twitter as well. Like they've got some. I don't know why they've done this. The site. So they're clearly pro Sony. They're quoting fanboys from Twitter just to sort of mock it even more. So PlayStation owners will have a 30-day exclusive access to a legendary outfit, legendary emote, epic takedown, and nameplate for each superhero, including the starter ones, and each new character as they're added as DLC. As if it's not enough, some community challenges, public events, and all playable collaborate on beat will also be exclusive to PlayStation. And finally, you've got special PlayStation Plus extras for subscribers that include a rare outfit, nameplate, and free credit every time there's a new hero added, plus a special Miss Marvel one on launch day. So yes, they're actually getting quite a lot of stuff. So I don't know how much money Sony have thrown at this, but is it anti-consumer? Yes. But my point other than this is the media supports this. PS4 fans seem to support this and seem to be happy that Sony is doing this. But as I said about carrying that same energy, so I would just like to see that same energy just carried out throughout the whole generation. People are pissed that Tomb Raider is an Xbox exclusive. Who remembers this? When Tomb Raider was coming out and was announced it's going to be exclusive to the Xbox console for a year. And there was a massive kickback by journalists and Sony fanboys that said it's not fair, blah, blah, blah. Here we go. Look, nice move, Square Enix is complaining about Tomb Raider sales. Still you choose to go with Xbox One, which a slap in the face as a Tomb Raider fan. You should retire your game to Rise and Fall for Tomb Raider. You should start packing up your office now. And there was just people just upset and calling it bullshit that it's going to be exclusive to Xbox. So how come it just seems okay for PS4 to have exclusives, and that seems to be a benefit to gaming, and it's good, blah blah blah, all the nonsense that goes with exclusivity for PS4. But whenever Xbox does it, we get a backlash. Oh, that's a consumer. That's not fair. Xbox shouldn't have exclusives. But then you complain when Xbox does have exclusives. I just can't get my head around what Xbox are meant to do. You complain when they have exclusives, and then you complain when they don't have exclusives. You can see why Xbox and Phil sometimes has mixed messaging, because they're not sure what the gamers want. Because a really idiotic fan base are just hypocritical and basically stupid. Basically, it's not just games. Let me just show you another one. Let's rewind back time to 1 month, and PlayStation fans are worried Microsoft could buy Warner Brothers gaming division. Yes, you remember this? This is only a month ago. Xbox PS4 fans were worried that if Xbox, because there was the rumour that Xbox was going to buy Warner Brothers games, blah blah blah, that Batman could become exclusive to Xbox. And they was kicking up a massive fuss all over social media, all over Twitter, all over YouTube. That is not fair. It's not fair. They've played previous Batmans. I love Batman. Batman should not be locked behind a paywall. Batman shouldn't be exclusive to Xbox. It's unfair, anti-consumer. blah 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 blah, to the point where Push, PlayStation Pro channel, reported on it. And once again, where's that same energy? Why is it okay when PS4 is massively anti-consumer, but Xbox are not allowed to be? Xbox are not allowed to be anti-consumer. They're not allowed to have exclusives. Not allowed to do this. They're not basically allowed to do anything Sony does. Only Sony are allowed to be anti-consumer, and that's good for them. That's okay. You're happy that a console is anti-consumer, but you're not happy that another one is anti-consumer. They have to be open to everyone, just so it suits your narrative, so you can take the piss out of them about it. Basically, that's the bottom line of it all, isn't it? You don't want Xbox to have exclusives, so you can take the piss out of them, and then when you do, you complain about it, so they make a non-exclusive, then you can take the piss out of it. That is basically what suits your narrative. And it's just ridiculous that the media also jumps on this, and they also show some bias towards it. And this is what is, at the end of the day, killing gaming. Exclusives are killing gaming for a start, but it's also the idiotic fan base, which is then supported by idiotic journalists that just want clicks for their clicks for their sites, which fuels a ridiculous console war, which is killing and ruining gaming at the end of it. Let's just look, right, what happens then if Xbox goes, okay, with all their money, goes, okay, exclusives, you want exclusives? We'll do that. We're going to use now our massive wealth that far exceeds Sony. We're going to buy up all studios, all games, make them all exclusive. What would you say then? Would you say, well done, Xbox having exclusives? Well done. All games are now exclusive to Xbox. And now the PlayStation is now completely redundant. It can't have any games other than its first-party studios it already owns. Otherwise, nothing else is exclusive. Microsoft just started flaunting the cash, bought everything exclusive, made everything exclusive, started buying every studio, every game coming out was now exclusive to Xbox. Would gamers be happy with that? Would you be happy with that? No, you would not be happy with that. Because exclusive at the end of the day is bad for gaming. It's also very, very, very bad for business. As a company, you wouldn't make your stuff exclusive like this. You are losing out on so much money. Exclusives don't make as much money as multiplats. That is a fact. That is a fact. You can quote sales at me now, and we'll get into the debate into the comments below. But it is a fact. You cannot change that fact. So yes. So just to end on this, Spider-Man content. Is it bad for gaming? Yes. Is it very anti-consumer? Yes, because it's a multi-plat game, and you're just locking, by the sounds of it, a massive portion of the game behind a paywall to a certain console. So yes, I can see why now people will boycott this game. It's like, it'd be like going to cinema and saying you've all paid to go and watch the film, but then halfway through they kick half of you out. You still paid the same amount as the others, but they kick half of you out and say, sorry, you can't watch the end of the film. Sorry, the end of the film is exclusive just to certain customers. Cheers, bye. Imagine that. Can you imagine if they did that? You'd kick up a fuss. You'd all go, oh well, fair enough, it's exclusive. The end of the film is exclusive to them people. Fair enough. You would stick a thumbs up and walk away, would you? Having just spent £10, £20 to watch that movie, you would go, yeah, fair enough. Would you? You would not do that. So yes, it's terrible and it's anti-consumer. Sony need to just stop being anti-consumer, stop trying to just ruin gaming for everybody, and just not be lazy. And they should have planned ahead and released some first-party exclusive titles that make you want to buy a PS5 instead of buying content, exclusive content, which is bad. Okay. Thank you all for watching. Let me hear your thoughts and below, and what you have to say on all the topics I've come up with. Please sub, share, look out for future videos, and look out for my top quick tips on various games, such as Grounded, which just released, was doing really well on Steam. Actually, it's doing really well on Steam. Thanks you all for watching, and goodbye for now.